Hi, good morning.
Hello. Yeah, good morning, Asha. Welcome to the Story to Satori show.
Thank you.
And after a long meandering path, we
Right,
could finally come to your book, Meandering Expressions.
right.
So, welcome to Story to Satori. I have a beautiful guest. She's in Gurgaon, I suppose, and yes. She's come up with her new book. She has been a TEDx speaker, and she's into many other things like training and English literature. And after a I mean, she's written poems right in the year 1995,
Yes.
and now she has published many poems. In fact, this book is all about verses, as she says, and it's a beautiful collection of poems written by her right from 1994 onwards. And finally, the day has dawned when those meandering expressions have really come in full print, I mean, in bold print, and people can buy her ebook, which is available on Amazon, and also a paperback book. Which is it available also in Amazon now?
It's Amazon. It
Is
is
it
available
available?
on Amazon. It's in overseas market, not in India. It's on Amazon.com.
Great. So, welcome to the show, Asha. First, let's begin with the question.
Right.
Um, how did this book kind of evolve over so many years? Why did it take so long for you to finally publish it?
See, the answer lies to that question. The answer lies in my last acknowledgement space. Uh, what happens is,
Uh,
although it's easy for us to write, it's easy for one to write if you are up to it. But it takes that much more conviction, that much more fillip and impetus to be able to go out and publish it. So after a lot of encouragement from my family friends, there's I have this very particular very special friend, Shalini. She gave me the fillip, the inspiration to go ahead and publish it, because I was always hoping that I my first book would be a novel. Then she said, novel will come, wo to hota rahega. You first of all publish your verses, which you have been writing for more than 2 decades now. So that's how this happened. The
yes.
English expressions
Yeah, I can resonate with that. I can resonate because I also have a book in me, and
right.
there have been poems which I've written almost like 2 or 3 decades ago, and they're still there lying in the cupboard with some collected short stories, and a lot of that's how it started. My journey with Story to Satori started with that. And
Right.
now I want to ask you, why people have got such a short bandwidth, especially in these times of COVID. Now we are all having so much of, we are glued to our screens, and what should I say? Mindlessly, we are looking at things and we are absorbing so much information. So why at all a person should read a book, and why should anybody pick up your book? And that's a collection of poems, as you say.
Right.
And can you just throw some light on that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll answer your first part of the question first. The answer lies actually in your question
Yeah.
itself, because we are having so
Uh,
much screen time, excessive screen time, resulting in migraines,
right.
resulting in us being irritable, having all kinds of headache and unforeseen strain on the eyes. And no matter
Yes.
how old school this sounds, I'm an educator too. Besides being a writer, I'm also an educator. And I often tell my students that
Hmm.
nothing is more liberating than writing and reading, more specifically reading.
Absolutely.
The wider we read, the better you are at conversations, the better you are with holding an opinion, the better versed you are with the whole construct of being a human being in the first place. You get to connect
Hmm.
with other stories, other people, other lives, other cultures. What is not there that reading does not offer, right? It's and it also inculcates the value of
Absolutely. Because I can again, value of, I
patience,
couldn't get the last word
patience,
you said. The
patience,
value of what?
patience.
Patience. Yes. Absolutely. Patience, yes. See, the reason I can resonate is I have been started. I'm not I'm not able to sleep in the night because of so much of the glare of the mobile phone, and so I've just kept aside my mobile phone and not reading. I mean, not seeing anything on the phone. In fact, being away from social media. because of getting, as you said, a lot of headaches and not being mindful. So I'm practicing this book reading in the end of the day, so that I could get a good sleep in the night. And it's not just for getting a good sleep, but also to gain knowledge, also to enrich yourself with so much. But another question arises in this context, Asha, why should, see, people as it is, they don't read, as you said, it's a very slender segment of people who read. And again, reading poems is such a small little so who is your target audience? Why do you want people to read such poems as you have written?
True. See, it's a well-known fact that literature, as such, caters to a niche audience, and furthermore, so with poetry, a very thin population, a very slender amount of people who read
Mm,
poetry. Now, the question why people should read meandering expressions, it's all about human emotions. It's something that people can easily connect and resonate with. It's basically about life and instances that have taken place in your life as much as it has taken place in my life, and how we respond as human beings. It is about love, it is about loss, it is about the unfortunate incidents of betrayal, friendship, yearning, hope. So these are things that give you insights into
beautiful.
how we respond, how we react, how we emote. And I think the fact that it is very easy to comprehend and relate to, that would be the reason why one should pick up meandering expressions.
Beautifully said. And this actually leads me to one of your poems, which just popped up. I mean, I was scrolling through, I read few of your poems and they're so beautiful. As you really said, I think these emotions that every human being has, and as there is a quote saying that every person has a book inside them.
True.
And you had a book and you expressed your emotions through meandering expressions. Now, this poem, which has come on my screen here, is 3 to 1,
Right.
possibly none. So nothing waits, including nothingness, from 3 to 1 and to now one, possibly none, nothing waits. Can you just talk about this poem and give us some more, people will read, of course, I have read the book poem and I've liked and I want to keep reading, reflecting on this. Can you just tell more about this? How
Thank you
did this
so much
poem
for that. Yeah, this is one of
come
my
about?
most recent verses, actually, and it's autobiographical. Needless to say, um,
Mm,
the incident which triggered this poem is rather tragic. Soon after I heard of my father passing away this March, as I was going to Mysore, that's my hometown. That's where my father lives. As I was going to on the flight, I built up this poem. This was a spontaneous expression that came across, and it refers to my own family. We were a family of three. My mother passed away fairly recently, and then, unable to bear that, my father also is no more, and I'm the only one left. So it is about that. So it is about bereavement. It is about loss, and I think in the entire collection, this is one of the verses that is closest to my heart.
yeah. And even I, lost my mom just in July. So I can so much, go through this poem, and those lines were so much deeply etched in my mind. Pause, nothing waits, including nothingness. Can you just talk about that? What is that nothingness? Nothing waits, including nothingness. So I remember, we had a brief conversation where I said, is it a vacuum? I was asking you questions. Is
Right.
it a space? What is that nothingness that you are talking about? And we talked about being transcendental in our love towards whomever we love. Yeah.
Exactly. See, I think it's only life that has limitations. It's only when the people around you are there, we have all those physical limitations. Once they are no longer there with you physically, it's not that they are gone. It's a different kind of a presence then, and that's what I meant by being transcendental. Now my connection with
Mm,
them, the ones who are dear to me, is transcendental. I see them here, everywhere. I can connect with them, interact with them every time, anytime. That's the whole idea of transcendence. Now, the nothingness that I'm talking about is people often tell you, when you unfortunately lose somebody close to you, the common advice you get
Mm,
is, things will go on, life must go on, and things like that.
mm,
But there is this acute sense of, now there is nothing, and
mm,
you yearn for a meaning. And with due course, when you handle that bereavement, when you handle that grief, you get to see that
mm.
nothingness also has something to it, and it's not entirely vacuous. It's not a vacuous nothingness. And at the same time,
Yes.
nothing waits, actually. Things in life move at such a spontaneous and at such an alarmingly fast pace. uh, everything happens at the snap of a button. The minute you get, whether it is good news or bad news, immediately the things that are happening around you, the birds continue to chirp, the sun continues to rise and set, and there is
Mm.
nothing that waits or stops. So we need to, the whole idea of carpe diem also becomes so very crucial. We need to live in the moment, and make the best of every moment, because at the end of the day, life is ephemeral.
That's the beauty of a poem. I mean, that's so much in depth. You can think about life as being there all the time, and you being alive there is something which is the most beautiful thing. And things are really not permanent here, but at the same time, you can connect to that one self, which is, I think, beyond everything. And you can, as you said, uh, people who pass away are there still, and maybe in way of memories, maybe in a higher dimension somewhere, but then you can always be, and then things move on.
True.
Things move on, but then you have grown, you have much, those experiences have taught you, and you have really used that bereavement for a better purpose, for a better this way. You have grown. So
Right.
this is what happens, when I think, I mean, I'm just telling this to the reader or person who's listening to this, and that people may find, what is there in those words. The words have really no meaning unless there is an emotion behind that. Words have no meaning. The emotions is what gives that those words that purpose, and that it creates a certain experience for the either the person who's viewing or reading or experiencing in any way when we are talking. So
Emotions are
by the book,
strongest way of knowing.
and by the book meandering expressions. Yes, yes, emotions are beautifully expressed in this,
Right.
and it takes time, it takes reflections. So it need not be necessarily read at a stretch, just like how we do for a book. So is it coming in a small little very cute kind of a
Yeah,
booklet form,
it's a
or
very
uh,
slender paperback, which is available on
okay,
Amazon. Barely 44
okay,
pages. It has about 42 poems, and it chronicles my journey as a poet,
right,
right from 1994 to the present
yeah,
day. But then it's a Kindle version, and then it's easily read on the phone. So any which
uh,
ways, whichever medium people prefer. I was when I was looking at publishing, I was strongly recommended that I go in for the Kindle version, and that's how it has come out,
yes,
the Kindle version. And it's not a start
right,
to finish. You can read it at leisure.
absolutely. So we're going to share the links for your book, and so I would request the listeners to please go fetch that book, and it's a beautiful book which so are you planning any other ways now that you're in Gurgaon? Are there any book reading sessions, or people can come and attend virtual book reading session or something like that? Would you plan to have one?
Actually, frankly speaking, I haven't thought about it so far. But what I have thought about are my next two collections of poems, and I already
Yeah.
have 10 poems ready for my second collection. But yeah, now that you mentioned
Mm.
this, I think maybe
Yeah,
I should venture into that space as well.
absolutely, because I was actually attending a few, and not that I really attended very thoroughly, but then I was going through few, and I really enjoyed that idea of having a short book reading session where people can come online live, because they are notified in uh, earlier. So people come, whoever is interested comes, joins that, And maybe we can plan one if everything permits. Like we had all these hassles of technical issues and things, so we can have a live session where people who are interested on invitation, they come, we give them sufficient amount of time for really getting prepared mentally, because there are so many challenges, I feel, and for present times. And so that because of the screen time we have to devote for such things. And let's plan one. So with those wonderful notes, would you like to add something before we close the
Yeah,
session today?
definitely. I would urge your listeners and people to pick up meandering expressions and read, and then tell me, share their thoughts with me, share their emotions with me, and tell me which
Yeah,
of those verses they can
yeah,
resonate with. I would love to hear that.
absolutely. And please share the reviews as well. Whoever reads, you can go and leave your reviews, which will help Asha to actually write more. And looking forward to your next book, Asha. Thank you so much for being
Thank
on
you
this
so
show.
much. Thank you for hosting me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.